Money FM 89.3. Best of Friday Night Live. Thank Fitness It's Friday.
Welcome back to Thank Fitness. It's Friday on this very, very wet Friday evening. Neil, how are you feeling so far?
I'm feeling fine, Dan. Thank you for asking. For a man of my age.
Okay. Now, the reason why I asked is because I understand, based on a report I read before, that it is during the colder weather or seasons that your body would start to ache a little more.
Yes.
Is that true or false?
Well, being a very young man, I wouldn't know. But yes, when I was back in the UK, when it was 0 degrees, yes, indeed, I felt a difference.
Yeah, and that is exactly why we're going to talk a little bit about how to get the shoulder moving, because it's so easy to take your shoulder mobility for granted. After all, when the shoulder is functioning properly, it can help to do everything from lifting weights, raising your hands, cycling, and just talking to kids at primary schools.
Indeed. And I saw what you did there, and I'm just ignoring it.
Okay. All right. But when the shoulder mobility is affected,
Yes.
you might find yourself being challenged with certain kinds of activities that you do throughout the day. For example, maybe trying to lift your phone up.
Yes.
Or trying to wipe the sweat after you worked hard.
Yes.
Or do you actually sweat?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Now, so given that the shoulder is the most mobile major joint in the body, and that your body really relies on it to function optimally, it's sad to say that many of us, unfortunately, and myself included, take it for granted.
Right.
So the importance of shoulder mobility helps you to wash your shirt, wash your hair, store away dishes, and maybe even try to play a game or two with our dear Abby Rose.
Indeed.
Were there any point in your life
Yep.
that you find yourself struggling to keep up with life just because of your shoulder, Neil?
Yes. Swimming. Front crawl. They're bringing the arm over the head. In fact, I don't even do front crawl swimming that much. Freestyle swimming
Freestyle, yep.
anymore. Yeah,
Yep.
I usually do breaststroke or backstroke.
Are there anything else, maybe like your day-to-day lifestyle that you did? Like, for example, trying to grab something from the closet?
Occasionally lifting. Because my wife says that's the only reason she married me, to get things off of high shelves. That's the only function I have.
That's a fair point.
It is a fair point in our relationship. She literally says, Neil, shelf. So I go to the kitchen, I go to the top shelf.
He's a human ladder.
I bring down the rice or whatever, and occasionally I feel a pinch in the torn rotator cuff.
It's not a good sign, Neil. It's important to keep the range of motion functioning, okay? And that's because, you can only cause or predispose yourself to injury in that joint if you don't keep it healthy and strong. So if you don't have full mobility as well, it puts neighboring joints like your neck and your elbow at risk of being injured. So have you ever found yourself, compromising your neck muscles just because you need to compensate for the lack of, strength in your shoulder?
In fact, this week, and you'll probably say it's related, I get pains here that run across.
That's very related.
So I can feel it now. If I turn my head more than
a bit
this.
stiffer.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Neil. Let's do a bit of a shoulder mobility test and to see whether or not you are mobile enough to move your hands around. Neil, stand up on your feet.
All right.
Step towards the wall and just wait for my instructions. For those of you who are at home.
I'm actually doing this.
Yeah, he's actually doing this. For those of you who are at home and you'd like to give it a try, please do. And listen carefully to the instructions I'm about to give you, okay? Now, what I'd like you to do is to begin by standing with your back against a wall. Okay, so we're doing a quick shoulder mobility test here to see how well your shoulders can move around and how healthy your shoulder is. So what you want to do is to begin standing with your back against the wall. Okay, so once you're standing against the wall, what you want to do is to lift your arms overhead one at a time. Hang on before you start. And I want you to try to touch the wall without arching your back or moving your body. So maybe you want to start with your left hand, lift it up, and you want to try to touch without moving your body, Neil. Okay, so obviously Neil struggles with a little bit because he's moving his body a little bit. And then once you're done with that, drop your left hand and you want to bring your right hand up and try to touch the wall without arching your body. Okay, the right hand seems a little bit more mobile than your left. Yeah, the weak one is the left side. Okay, so that's a simple test to show that obviously I think you need to work a little bit more on your left side. And in fact, just now when you talked to me about your problem, the first thing you did was to go over to your left.
Yeah.
So obviously that is something that you need to keep an eye out on. What about yourself? Okay, tell us, 88550893. Do you face any of these problems? Any of these issues as well as you're trying the test? Now, certain tests that can test your range of motion. And we're going to start with the abduction, okay? And this is where I'd like you to try to lift your arm to the side. And the goal range is for you to hit about 180 degrees. So you want to lift your arms to the side and up. So what you want to do is to make it like an L shape and then bring it all the way up here without moving too much of your body. That's it. And then slowly bring it all the way up to beside your ear. Now, if you can do that without feeling any form of discomfort, then your abduction is doing relatively well. Okay? Now, another one you could try is this exercise known as external rotation. So this is where you want to lift your arms to the side and forming an L shape with your palm facing the ground. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So your palm is facing the ground and your arm is creating an L shape on one side. Okay, you want to rotate your forearm so that your fingertips is pointing towards the ceiling, as if you're doing about 180 degrees. As you're doing that, if it starts to hurt, I want you to stop and take a break. But if it's okay for you, then it shows that at least you got some good rotational flexibility, and that really works well for you. So do it on the other side as well to see whether or not it's about the same. So once that's done, I'd like you to try the internal rotation, and that's where you literally do the same thing, but instead of turning your palms towards the sky from the outside, I want you to turn it from the inside, so the other way around, and to see whether or not you're able to turn. And if it starts to hurt on your shoulder, then maybe you should take a break, stop first for a minute, and try it again later. But you don't want to overexert yourself. This is a simple test to see how well your shoulder is able to turn around.
Clicked.
All right? It clicked.
Shoulder click then. Yeah.
Okay, so this pretty much sums up the test that we've done so far. Okay, Neil, hang on. I don't want to send you to hospital, okay? So
no, but it's amazing. I can hear it clicking on the right side because I actually overcompensate by exercising my left side more than my right because the left side is the weak side.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
It does.
I take the right side for granted.
Absolute sense, yes. Now, you got to think of your shoulder as like a ball and socket where it's literally just like, a rotating mechanism, right? And you have to upkeep that by constantly stretching and moving them around, but not overexert them.
I am shocked
Yeah.
by how much clicking it's doing.
It's crazy how such a simple exercise reveals a lot about the health of your joints. So with that said, now if you find yourself like Neil, having clicking arms where it starts to hurt a little bit, or you feel like you're unable to complete at least most of the exercises or tests that I've talked to you about, well, maybe some of these shoulder mobility exercises you can try to help you improve your flexibility. So let's get started, shall we?
All right.
First one is known as the thread the needle. This one, you're required to kind of be closer towards the ground. So what I'd like you to do is to firstly rest on a comfortable surface in a tabletop position. Basically, knees on the ground and palms on the ground. And then once you're in that position, I'd like you to try to take your left hand and arm and put it under your right armpit. So you kind of like stretch forward. No, you want to try to keep your palms on the ground and just reach out across your body. So you start to feel that your left side is stretching the arm and the shoulders and to reach as far as you can.
Like this?
That's exactly right, Neil. And then once you're done with that, I'd like you to try to bring it back to the resting position and then swap it over to the right side and stretch it across your body, bringing your body to the ground as low as possible and to feel that stretch across your right arm. So this is known as the thread the needle, and it's recommended that you try about 10 to 20 reps on each side. So once you're done with that, take a short 1 to 2 minutes break, and you should start to feel your shoulders starting to loosen up. How do you feel now, Neil?
Not bad actually. Yeah.
Okay, so this is known as one of the easiest way to get your shoulders, working in the morning and to start to feel refreshed. So that's recommended that you try at least about 2 times a week. Okay, next one, we've got the cross-body shoulder stretch. This is very straightforward. Honestly, all you need to do, standing position, reach your right arm across your body and your left arm, kind of like pull your right arm closer towards your body and just stretch the right arm as hard as you can, or as far as you can. So you want to keep your elbow of your right arm underneath the left arm and just pull your arm across. So you start to feel the stretch across your right arm. And then once you're done in this position, I'd like you to swap sides. So similarly, you bring your left arm across your right arm, and you want to just use your right arm to pull your right arm closer towards your body, and you start to feel the stretch. This is a very common stretch that a lot of people have been familiar with or have tried before. It's a very typical shoulder stretch that people often do.
I like this one.
Yeah, this is simple because it doesn't require you to move much. Okay, next one. This is an exercise that we've done before.
Okay.
And I think it's your personal favorite as well. We call this the doorway pec stretch. Remember this one, Neil?
I do, but enlighten me.
Okay, now the doorway pec stretch is basically where you gotta first start with your left arm. Okay, and what you want to do is to kind of like raise your hand but in an L shape and keep it at a 90 degrees angle. And then you want to keep that arm and face it towards the wall. And as you're facing towards the wall, you want to place your palm towards the wall, lean it against the wall, and try to push it while twisting your body towards the right side. And then once you do that, you start to feel the stretch across your shoulder and across your chest. Now this position, I'd like you to hold it for about a good 10 to 20 seconds and to feel that stretch as much as you can. Once you're done, drop the left side and proceed to the right side. Similarly, with your palms facing the wall, I'd like you to try to twist your body, and then I want you to try to stretch that muscle up across your shoulder and across your chest. Once you feel that stretch for 10 to 20 seconds, drop it down and then swap sides to the left one again. So I'd like you to try for about 10 to 20 reps as well, similarly for this exercise, and this will help you to feel a lot more relaxed and loosened. So far, we've done about 3 exercises. How are you feeling, Neil?
That's good. I particularly like the last one. You can really feel the stretch coming through the shoulders, the arms, and the top of the chest.
Exactly. Okay, one final one. This is the easiest, all right? This is known as the shoulder-controlled articular rotation. And what you need to do is basically just swing your arms around, but very, very slowly.
Stand up or sit down?
So stand up or sit down, whichever is easy for you, depending on how tall you are. You don't want to hit the ceiling, right? So what you want to do is to raise one arm as high as you can and rotate your hand so that it faces outwards, and try to go as far back as you can and bring it down and back up again. So essentially, you're like drawing circles with your arm. And I want you to go slowly, because the thing is, you want to see how far you can stretch with that arm and not overexert yourself. If it comes to a point where it starts to hurt, stop there and just rest your arm for a bit, because we've gone through about 3 exercises. So once you've done with the left side, you want to move on over to the right side, reach out as high as you can, stretch it far behind you, bring it down to where your thighs are, bring it forward and back up again. That is 1 rep. So that is known as your shoulder-controlled articular rotation. You want to do it for about 10 to 20 reps. Simple enough, right?
Yes, felt a click on the right one.
Again. All right. With all that said and done, how do you feel about your shoulders so far?
I like it. They're good exercises. It really pulls through the shoulder muscles, the groups of muscles around the shoulder and the shoulder blade. Fantastic.
It wakes up your shoulders. It really helps you to loosen up, and it helps to improve your flexibility as well. So these kind of clicking issues you would not face as often as you would, as long as you keep moving them and you kind of like lubricate it in a sense. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I'd like you to try 2 to 3 times a week, weekly sessions, because this would help you to strengthen them and not overexert them. Not 5 or 6, that's a bit too much. You want to rest on certain days. And of course, days where you're feeling a little bit, tired from working and your shoulders are a little bit hunched, I'd like you to try to work on that and you feel a lot better. So with that, stop bending and start stretching and start getting that shoulders moving. And that's all we have for this week's episode of Thank Fitness It's Friday.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.